Candlepin Stars and Strikes is brought to you by the Thompson family of dealerships in Nashua, New Hampshire, and by Tri-State Megabucks and the New Hampshire State Lottery, helping New Hampshire schools one ticket at a time.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Candlepin Stars and Strikes. From Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, Dick Lusk with Mike Morin. And today we begin our final ladder series of the season. We're looking for our 6th participant in the Tournament of Champions at the end of the year. Thus far, 5 great bowlers have qualified.
You never really know for sure till the end who's going to be the top seed, but I think we know after last week, Chris Sargent's 497. He's going to be on top.
What a performance he had last week, but there are 5 bowlers.
That's right.
Thus far.
So Chris Sargent, Dick, is number 1, followed by Jeff Surratt. He had 401. And the following 3, Dave Hodge, Hugh Ferguson, and Craig Holbrook, will round out the top 5, but we still look, as you said, for number 6.
Over the course of the next 4 weeks, you're going to see 5 of the greatest Candlepin bowlers in the world vying for that final spot in our Tournament of Champions. Let's meet our first 2 participants. First, our number 4-5 seed from Everett, Massachusetts. Let's welcome Chris Capozzi.
And actually, you were right. He was tied for 4th or 5th because he and Mike Morgan had the same scores, but Mike Morgan had the higher single. So Chris Capozzi averaging 120, his high single 194, best triple 444. He bowls at Central Park Lanes in East Boston.
And Chris had a 657 in the roll-off to earn the number 5 seed, as Mike said. Our 4th seeded player also had a 657, but by virtue of having a higher string in the match, he earns the number 4 seed. From Lynn, Massachusetts, welcome Mike Morgan,
who was on with us a few months ago in the mixed doubles. Average 126, high single 212. 474 high triple. He does his bowling at Metro Bowl in Peabody.
On we go. Let's get right to it. Chris Capozzi and Mike Morgan when we come back to Leda Lanes. It's Candlepin Stars and Strikes coming right up. There you see the 5 bowlers that make up this ladder series, the final ladder series of the season. Chris Capozzi and Mike Morgan, our first match. Mike Yao is the number 3 seed. Mark Gregory at number 2, and Bobby Betancourt, the number 1 seed in this ladder series. And we're ready to go from Leda Lanes in Nashua. Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Chris Capozzi will be first to bowl. And there you get a good look at Chris. And we're ready to get started. And we are underway.
So how do we follow up last week's 497 by Chris Sargent?
Hard to do. Hard to do.
That was exciting, wasn't it? People are still buzzing about that even today.
Great shot by Chris. Trying to pick up the spare. Chris from Everett, 48 years old. Been bowling a long time. 42 of the 48 years.
Not a lot of TV on his resume, but he looks pretty calm out there, I'd say, early on.
We've had him on once before, and
yes,
he was on as a kid back in the old Channel 5 Junior show way back when.
Didn't have the mustache then, in case he looks familiar to you.
You sure about that, huh? Right on the head pin, not able to convert. Chris, an assistant analyst at Mellon Bank in Everett, works the 3rd shift monitoring the bank's computer systems. Likes working the 3rd shift. He has for over 20 years. It takes a special person to work that 3rd shift.
I talk to a lot of people because I do the early morning show at WZID, and people that call, say, between 5 and 6 on that 3rd shift, love the serenity of it and not being bothered by a lot of people, the schedule, the freedom during the day.
And they're avid listeners of New Hampshire in the Morning on WZID 95.7. Mike Morgan from Lynn. Needs very little, if any, introduction to Candlepin bowling fans across New England. Mike's been bowling a long time, too. He's 48 years old. He's been bowling for almost all of those 48 years.
And we saw him just a couple of months ago, mixed doubles, number 3 seed with Jennifer Callie DiBiasio, and they won that ladder by defeating the team of Tim Lipke and Cindy Cawley by just 6 pins, 364 to 358.
Right in the head pin, and there goes the strike for Mike Morgan. The first strike, first mark of the match. We'll watch it again. Right in the 1-3 pocket. There it is perfectly. The 5 pin, as is so often the case, the last to go. Chris Capozzi moves over to lane 34. Little thin, but a good 8-pin drop and a spare opportunity with the 6 and 10 still standing. Chris and Donna have been married for 14 years. Chris has a daughter, Anna, 9, a stepson, Sean, 19, a freshman at Suffolk University, majoring in criminal justice. Last time on our show, he was the number 2 seed. He was beaten by Danny Harris, 374 to 345. That was in March of '02. Good shot. Put it right on the spot and couldn't get a break. He's been right on the money, just hasn't been able to convert.
Just going to say the same thing. Looks like he's already locked in, just a matter of no breaks. And boy, he just nails that one going by the piece of wood that was in the gutter for a 10 box.
Get to some of your cards and letters that we have accumulated over the course of the last several weeks. We're also going to show you some of the highlights from the Rocket Bowl at Pilgrim Lanes, which took place in late February. You'll get to see some of the young people that participated.
Not our match,
no,
though.
no. Kevin LaFond, who was there shooting, has put together a little piece that will show you at the start of the second string, so you get a taste of the atmosphere, which is so great. Michael and I are so happy to be part of that every year. It's just such a wonderful thing, wonderful experience. And to see all of those kids who are the future of Candlepin bowling so enthusiastic about that event and their opportunity to go to Canada to compete against young bowlers across the border, it just is it's a great thrill for us each year. We're just so happy to be there. Mike Morgan looks for 2 in a row. There it goes.
He likes that lane, doesn't he?
Wasn't 2 in a row. It was interrupted by an 8-box, but 2 out of 3.
Well, 2 in a row on that same lane,
right,
if you want to be technical, on lane 33, but he's got open boxes on lane 34. Chris leaves 3/4 of the 4 horsemen over there with a piece of wood missing between the 1 and the 6. Missing the object pin, he'll take a 9. We have a lot of mail and emails to get to over the next couple of weeks.
I want to thank Marge from Sharon, Mass, who sent us in an article, a picture from the Herald. Young people in Indonesia, and one of them wearing a bowling shirt. Unfortunately, it's a 10-pin shirt, but still bowling is bowling for a lot of people, and it brings the game around the world. But it's neat to see in Indonesia they're wearing shirts that have carried on the tradition of the game.
Well, 10-pin is very big in Asia, that part of the world. And of course, we had shots that Tim Lipke provided to us a couple of months ago of the Candlepin bowling in the deserts arena over there in Iraq.
And an 8-box.
Chance for Mike to pick up a few pins. He was just slightly behind through 4 boxes.
Marsh from Sharon writes in her note, I'm a little late with the message. I want to tell you about a picture and right up in the Herald. It shows a U.S. Marine surrounded by Indonesian children. In the forefront, a little girl with a white sweatshirt on, and printed on the front of the sweatshirt is bowling balls. It happens to be a 10-pin. She said Candlepin, but it is bowling. And we just appreciate hearing from you, Marge. Marge says it's nice to watch a nice, clean, entertaining TV show once in a while. Marge, nice to have you out there watching.
Well, we have to bleep you once in a while, Dick.
Only once.
Keep that up, you'll be getting job offers from Fox. He'd make a great character on The Simpsons, you know that?
We ought to do a bowling segment, a Candlepin bowling segment. Send in a script for it.
Well, it's the 1 and the 10 for a 10-box. I'm sorry, the 1 and the 7 for Mike Morgan.
And a 9-box. You mentioned Tim Lipke, and there was an email that Tim sent. I hope you have it in the stack that you have here, about an event coming up at Lakeside Lanes.
Yeah, it's coming up in June. I don't have it in front of me. You might have it in the stack of your notes I gave you.
because there's a shot by Chris Capozzi. Perfectly thrown ball. Watch how in unison these pins fall down if we get to see the replay. And there they go. Back to the action with Chris Capozzi looking for 2 in a row just off the head pin. And the 1-7-10. I had a bunch of emails on my computer. My computer went down. It went to the shop, and I didn't get a chance to print them out before it went to the shop. So I hope you've got it here in the stack that you've got.
I gave you a bunch of stuff. I hope it's in there, too.
Ooh, almost.
If not, Tim Lipke knows where you live, and he's going to come hurt you.
Let's see if I can find it. Got it right here. Good boy, Michael. You came through in the clutch. Tim Lipke writes, I know the final taping is coming this week. Could we announce the 23rd annual elimination doubles tournament for June 4th and 5th? It's the longest running doubles tournament in its 23rd year. Info may be downloaded at lakesidelanes.com. That's lakesidelanes.com. You'll find all the information about that tournament coming up June 4th and 5th at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester. Tim Lipke runs a nice house there.
He does indeed. And you know what else is coming up even before that, Dick, here in just a couple of weeks? The 17th annual Easter Sunday Classics single scratch. All the top names and the professional ranks are here. Sunday, the 27th, here at Leda Lanes. And the top prize every year is $5,000 guaranteed. It's a 20-string tournament, so it goes on, it seems, for hours and hours. One shift, 102-bowler limit. The entry fee is rather stiff, but the payoff is substantial, $150 to bowl. Starts at noon. You're invited to come on down and watch. Even though it's Easter Sunday, many of you will be with your families, understandably, but if you have a few minutes to sneak out and you live near Nashville, the best of the best will be here.
Nice shot by Mike Morgan. The spread eagle on the left side, the 10-pin on the right side, and there it is. Watch the ball go right to the left of the head pin. The head pin kicks over to take out the 10-pin, and a perfectly executed shot by Mike Morgan. Now Chris Capozzi going over to the Brooklyn side.
And it's the bucket or the diamond, whichever you prefer to call it.
You talk about being with your family on the holiday. The bowling community is one big family.
Well, that's a very good point. And we saw that at Leda Lanes. I'm sorry, at the Pilgrim Lanes just about a month ago.
There's another spare for Chris Capozzi as he took out the dinner bucket, the diamond. Watch that pin come off the wall. It's going to go all the way off the left wall. And here it comes back to wipe out the 9-pin. And there it goes, a spare for Chris Capozzi. His third mark of the first string. Again to the Brooklyn side, and a strike. He crossed over to Brooklyn, as you'll get to see here, just to the left of the head pin. There it is, the 5-pin waiting, and there it goes. Needed a little coaxing. Looking for some bonus money now. That's in the 1-3 pocket. Looking for $50 in bonus money here. He's at 129. $131. First string for Chris Capozzi. And $50 in bonus money to end the first string. Well done for Chris Capozzi with 4 marks and a spare inside the strike. This is just 5 in the spare for Mike Morgan. And he's going to need a mark in the 10th frame to get back in the hunt.
And a double to win.
$9 for Mike Morgan, 106 through 9. A mark here would bring him within a mark going into the second string. Might have been better off if those pins hadn't gone down.
And we've got a piece of wood
rolling
now.
out.
Yeah, it's going to go in the left gutter probably. Kate Nichols, our scorekeeper, an official pin chaser, should she be needed for that. But she was
That's a new title. Pin chaser. Mike tries to play it off the wall.
What a great try that was.
He is at 115.
He's try to cap that piece of wood head on.
It's a 115 first string for Mike Morgan. A 16-pin lead for Chris Capozzi after one. As we continue from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, it's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Every year, Michael and I have the distinct honor of participating in the Rockin' Bowl at Pilgrim Lanes in Haverhill. It took place late in February, and there you see some of the young people involved, along with all of the professional bowlers that come out to lend their time and services. And it's just a great Sunday. And again this year, as you'll see in this tape, that words hardly can describe the wonderful camaraderie and participation by everybody.
And we certainly have to give props to Bart Medeiros, who's really the driving force, along with the Angelotti family. There's Gary Carrington, for really making this happen every year. The kids are in Canada the weekend of the 17th through the 20th for the big international tournament with their Canadian counterparts, and that's what this is all about. There's Jeff Bagia from Dracut, and there's Gary Angelotti, and some of our favorite fans who come to all the tapings and showed up that particular day at Pilgrim Lanes. Just saw Sue Halloran, who also works here and is a pro. There's Coach Bart Medeiros.
Just a great day, a great afternoon, and we were happy to be part of it. You'll get to see our grudge match during the Tournament of Champions, but it was a great thrill for us to be there. We look forward for many years to come to participate in the Rockin' Bowl at Pilgrim Lanes. Back to the action here at Leda Lanes, string number 2, with Chris Capozzi leading Mike Morgan 131 to 115 after one, and good work by Kevin LaFond, who took his time on that Sunday at Pilgrim Lanes to shoot the action you just saw, and we appreciate his efforts as well. Kevin's our director here today. Keith Webb's our engineer. On cameras, Kristen Doobie, Larry Haber, Tanya Perry, Chuck Lothrop's on replay, Rich Burke's on audio, and Kristen Doobie is also going to be handling graphics. Double duty for Kristen here this afternoon, so we appreciate her efforts as well. Mike Morgan, first to bowl in string number 2. Missed the spare, but has an opportunity for a 10 bucks. And that's what it'll be.
Well, Dick, as you may or may not know, as you do, but maybe everybody doesn't know, there was a special, I guess you could almost call it maybe a first annual grudge match between a group of kids and a group of professional bowlers when we were done. Now, as you might expect, the kids are anywhere from 6, 7, 8 into the teens, and they played some of the top professional bowlers. Now, the kids beat the pros with handicap. However, in the second match, in the second of the 3 games, the kids beat the pros by 12-pin scratch. Wow. Steve Reno coaching the professionals and Bart Medeiros coaching the kids. It was a great time, and I imagine that will be a very popular event that will be repeated next year. This is the first time they've done that. Which goes to show that the best bowlers don't always win. Or the most experienced bowlers, I guess. I think you were making a comment about our grudge match that's coming up.
Well, we just have to wait and see.
We will. You'll start to see that in about 4 weeks.
Sometimes even the best bowlers have off days, as we've seen many times on Candlepin Stars and Strikes over the years. There's a great shot by Chris Capozzi.
What a mess that was. And he mopped it up for a first box spare in game number 2.
Watch it again. He had the 4 horsemen on the left, the 6 and the 9 on the right, and he played it perfectly. Working on the spare. That's a good first ball, and there they go.
There was no doubt about that one, although the 10-pin took its time going down.
It's too bad the marks don't carry over from string to string, because he finished the first string with 3 marks in a row.
Right.
And now he starts the second string with 2 marks. And he's looking for more bonus money. Here's Mike with a good first ball. He needs to start putting some marks on the board as well.
Yeah, this match is slowly getting away from him as Chris Capozzi doesn't seem to show any signs of slowing down.
Mark for Mike Morgan, who responds to the pressure as you knew he would. We want to welcome the New England Ford dealers to our telecast, joining us as a participating sponsor on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We're happy to have you with us and look forward to a long and wonderful relationship with the New England Ford dealers as they join as a participating sponsor on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Our thanks to the New England Ford dealers for joining
Now,
us.
as part of the deal on this, I'm wondering, do we get to drive some of the new retro Mustangs or retro Thunderbirds that I've seen on the road that I love so much? Is that part of the deal?
Yes, that's absolutely part of the deal, Mike.
All
2
right.
marks in a row for Mike Morgan. You just go into your local New England Ford dealer, tell them I said so, and you drive out with a Mustang.
Hey, I'm from Detroit originally. I knew Henry Ford. Well, not quite, but I remember when those Mustangs came out. I think it was the 1964 and a half model. And what a splash that car made in the mid-'60s, and it still does today.
Chris Capozzi looks for 3 marks in a row. He's working on a strike.
I actually owned 2 Mustangs in my life.
3-6-10 for Chris, and he made it, the back door. He got it the hard way. Good thing the wood was frozen. He missed the object pin, but he had enough wood back there to hit the frozen pin and pick up the spare. $50 in bonus money. Now $100 in the match for Chris Capozzi. Another head pin ball and a 9-pin drop. He is right on. He's focused.
Must have been watching Chris Sargent bowl last week, who lit it up for 193, I believe it was, and a 497 triple.
Every time you say it, I can't believe it, and I saw it. Still can't believe it. He was this close to 500 too. He missed a spare in the 9th frame that he could have made easily. Chris looks for the mark. Oh, he got it off the wall. 4 marks in a row to start out. We're going to go to the break. Both bowlers working on marks. They're both red hot. Don't go away as we continue from Leda Lanes in Nashua with Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Mike Morgan ready to go on lane 34. He has 2 marks in a row. Chris Capozzi has 4 marks in a row. Actually 7 marks in a row if you go back to the end of the first string. Mike missed the head pin. 4 horsemen left side, puts 6 in the mark.
No wood to help him out. It's strictly the ball and the pins here and nothing on the deck.
As so often happens, 3 of the 4 with the 4 pin still standing. An open frame for Mike Morgan. He can ill afford many open frames. A 9-box.
Have a note here.
1/2.
Excuse me, Dick, from Pat, who is a frequent crew member of our show. Unable to be here because his 97-year-old grandmother just passed away, and he's with his family right now as they mourn her passing. Beatrice Ivy Scott Dow passed away March 6th at the age of 97. Loved Candlepin bowling and bowled until she was 91 years old. Member of the Lawrence Ladies Elks at the Lawrence Rec. Member of the Twilighters Bowling League in Methuen, and bowled at Academy Lanes in Bradford and later Park Place in Windham. There's another 9-box. One time he brought her to Nashua for the taping and got to meet her favorite bowler, Steve Vadney, and her face lit up with excitement. And I understand there's one time, this would have been when she was in her early 80s, Dick, she apparently broke her hand, and I guess there was some blood, and I mean, it was not a pretty sight. Her first thought was, will I ever be able to bowl? That's the first thing she thought about through all the pain and all the frightening aspects of it. So we send our condolences along to the family of Beatrice Ivy Scott Dow, who loved Candlepin bowling about as much as she loved anything, probably, other than her family. And thank you to Pat, and our sympathies go out to you, our fellow crewmate, the passing of his Nana at age 97.
Chris has an open frame in the 5th, a 9-box, an 85 for Chris. Another member of our Candlepin bowling community has passed away, and we extend our condolences to the family of Lucian Sonny Valandry. Sonny was one of the great loyal followers of Candlepin bowling. He was at our tapings often.
And boy, did he like to tease you.
He did.
But he loved you.
He was resident of Drake and former resident of the Pawtucketville section of Lowell. 74 years old when he died, and it lists as among his hobbies, he was an avid Candlepin bowler for more than 30 years. So our condolences to the family of Lucian Sonny Valandry, who passed away recently. As we will miss Sonny. He was a terrific, terrific friend and fan of Candlepin bowling.
It isn't the same around here without him. He really was just a very delightful man. And we've known him for the almost 8 complete years that we've done this show.
Never missed a taping.
until toward the end when he was having health issues prior to his passing.
Mike still off the head pin. Cannot find the head pin.
I believe that Chris Capozzi made that shot a little bit earlier in the match.
He did. Mike and Kathy have been married for 21 years. Their son Mike is 19 years old. Mike enjoys golf, all athletic activities, and some softball at work. He's been working at General Electric in Lynn for 26 years, preparing engines for assembly.
That's a long time to work at any one place, isn't it?
It is.
He's got 2 WCBC titles. He was the 1998-99 Bowler of the Year, and last year he was the number 12 ranked bowler in the WCBC. So he stays very active and gets on our show a couple times a year. A badly needed spare for Mike Morgan, who continues to trail by several marks to Chris Capozzi, second time on TV.
Chris a little thin, but a strike. I was about to say it was thin on the Brooklyn side, but sweeping action that time. Cleaned up the pins. Watch it again, and a little to the left of the head pin. Hardly got the head pin. Looked like he was going to have a lot of pins still standing, but those pins went flying. Now that's a good pocket shot, and look what he has. Not quite in the pocket. A little bit too full on the head pin.
Our runner-up today will take home a check for $200, and our winner will move on to play Mike Yao next week. Mark Gregory 2 weeks from today. Bob Betancourt, our top seed in the championship match, 3 weeks from today. And then the Tournament of Champions with 6 bowlers, and a 5-week run begins the week after that. Tournament of Champions first show airing, by the way, will be on April 10th.
And a 10 box.
Come on, Mike.
It's a 51-pin lead for Chris Capozzi, minus what Mike Morgan puts in his spare. He puts 7 in the spare. So that makes it a 44-pin lead for Capozzi. Tough shot here from Mike Morgan. Gave it a run. Could not convert. And that'll be a 10 box.
All right, come on. Right here.
We're hearing more from Mike Capozzi at the table today with our microphone than we have from Mike Morgan, who's been fairly quiet so far up there at the table.
Grab the head pin, breaks up the split, and a spare opportunity. Will that piece of wood stay on the deck, or will it go down? It stays up there.
He has no choice but to use it.
Got to keep it on the alley. He does that, and he makes the spare.
That's a nerve-wracking shot because it looks so easy. You're just so afraid you're going to put the ball in the gutter and miss an easy shot.
115 plus a ball for Mike. I'm sure he would like to get a big count and have Chris go open in the final 2 frames and be within 30 pins or so going into the 3rd string.
Oh,
he threw it away.
That's too bad.
Just a 2-pin fill. Mike having trouble finding the head pin all afternoon.
Well under his 126 average with 115 and 117 through 2.
Now Chris Capozzi can really open some daylight. Great pocket shot, and the 5-pin still stands. Chris has really been locked in on the head pin. While Mike hasn't been able to find the head pin, Chris has been locked in on it, but he missed the spare. Candlepin Stars and Strikes on from Leda Lanes in Nashua, presented by McMulkin Chevrolet, Nashua Mitsubishi, Nashua Hyundai, and McMulkin Cadillac, all in Nashua, and by Tri-State Megabucks and the games of the New Hampshire Lottery. We're happy to have you with us for Candlepin Stars and Strikes, and happy to welcome the New England Ford dealers to our roster of sponsors. And if you'd like information about joining our family of sponsors, you're more than welcome to call 603-434-8850 and inquire about future telecasts of Candlepin Stars and Strikes and how you can get involved. in one of the more popular bowling shows in America. And that'll be a 10 box. A 143 second string for Chris Capozzi, a 42-pin lead over Mike Morgan. Headed for string number 3. We continue from Leda Lanes in Nashua with Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Chris Capozzi leads Mike Morgan by 42 pins going to the 3rd and final string. It's Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Leda Lanes in Nashua. Dick Lutz with Mike Morin. Happy to have you with us as you watch the finest Candlepin bowlers in the world each and every week right here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Chris Capozzi has been zeroed in on the headpin for most of the first 2 strings. A 131 and a 143. And a spare for Chris to start off. He's really on target.
So Chris and Mike were tied for 4th or 5th place, depending on how you want to look at it. So who are the bowlers that just barely missed the cut and didn't make the show? Well, lefty Rich Clark missed it by 2 pins with a 655. 657 is what it took for Capozzi and Morgan to make it to the finals. Rich Hallis missed it by 6 pins. He had 651, rounding out the top 10. Steve Plant, Joe Smith, and Dick O'Connell, who we've not seen on the show. It'd be nice to have him back after we saw Paul Berger a couple of weeks ago as well. So it's good to have these guys back. Love to see him on the show again.
Chris Capozzi is not letting up. 2 spares to start off the 3rd string. Mike Morgan was joking between strings while we were away. His ineffectiveness and inability to find the headpin. And what an ugly match it had been to this point. And he starts off with a good first ball, and he converts the spare. Mike is not about to pack up and go home.
No, he's not about that. 62 appearances on our television station and 20 with the former Channel 5 bowling show. A lot of experience and a lot of bowling under his belt. One of the most loved players in the game today. Brother, of course, of the late Tom Morgan, who passed away a couple of years ago. When those 2 bowled together on the show against each other, which happened a couple of times, it was magic. You didn't want to see anybody lose.
Got a note from Roger Lemire of Haverhill, who sent us along a picture. I'm assuming it's from the Haverhill Gazette, but I'm not 100% positive. It's from the Bethany Bowlers as they return from the Massachusetts Senior Games with 16 participants earning 14 medals, many of them gold. Nancy Dandurant, Margaret Gallant, Mary Kennedy, Dorothy Cross, Ellen Batchelder, Roger Lemire, Mary Von Richter, Jean Parker, Muriel Jenny, Maureen Wimmer, Mary Merrill, Al Dragon, and Al Gallant. Missing Frank Barbario and William Pease. John Lehman from the photo. But congratulations to the Bethany Bowlers from Haverhill for their success at the Massachusetts Senior Games. And thank you very much, Roger, for the note.
Come on, right back. Come on, right back.
The games were in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Just went a little bit left of the headpin, seemed to turn his shoulder just a bit at the line, enough to steer the ball off the headpin, leaving the 1, 3, 7, and 8. There is no wood on the plate. He's on his own here.
Well, he got it bouncing around, gave it a shot. And that'll be a 10 box. Mike Morgan needs a couple of marks right here to make things interesting.
Yeah, time is running out on Mr. Morgan.
Trailing by 68 pins now. There's a good first ball. 9-pin drop. Could have used a strike.
Almost had one in the first box when he left just the 6-pin, and this time it's the 3.
Missed it. As we've said so many times before, it's not as easy as it looks. It'll be a 10 box. Needed the mark badly. Needs one here badly. Needs to run the table.
Last chance to get into the Tournament of Champions, which we'll be getting underway on the 10th of April. Winner of this series of events will then go on to be the 6th bowler.
Good effort by Mike right there, but not able to convert. So he will be open again. $10 box, and the lead is 48 for Chris Capozzi with 6 boxes remaining as we go to the break. We're coming back, heading down the home stretch. It's Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Leda Lanes in Nashua. Chris Capozzi moves to lane 34 at Leda Lanes. He has a 48-pin lead over Mike Morgan with 6 boxes remaining. On the headpin, breaks up the split, and a spare opportunity with a piece of wood situated right between the 1 and 3 pins. Another spare opportunity for Chris Capozzi, and he converts.
And he may very well be taking on Mike Yao of Londonderry next week. Mike Yao has not been on television before, although he was on Candlepins for Cash many, many years ago. He recalls having had a 9.
With my friend Bob Gamir.
That's right.
For pocket shot. Will they go? That 5-pin wobbles.
Come on, nothing easy, Chris. Come on, nothing easy.
Now he's got some pretty good wood there. The 5-pin is still shaking.
With a piece of wood right out in front of it.
Tough one to miss.
Right on it.
Now he's pretty much put it away here at this point.
Sure has, solidifying his lead with a couple of marks right there. Julie Altman sent us an email, Mike. There's Mike Morgan with a strike.
That could easily have been 3 strikes on lane 34 in this game. Easily. Man, that one was a crusher.
Mike tries to finish with a kick. That's off the head pin.
But as it's been so often today, one great ball and then one that misses the mark.
Julie Altman writes, I'm writing to tell you about my 3-year-old son, Isaac. He is obsessed with bowling to the point where we bought a set of used Candlepins from Lanes and Games and used balls off of eBay. We also have a growing library of books related to bowling. We bowl in the basement every evening after dinner, and Isaac makes sure he wears one of his bowling t-shirts. I try to take my 6-year-old daughter, Leora, and Isaac bowling at Lanes and Games every Thursday evening. And they bowl from 5:30 to 7. Her husband stays with their 18-month-old twins. Wow. They have pizza in the pub and watch leagues. Everyone is so friendly. It's just great. They TiVo our show, and Isaac watches as much as we allow. Let him watch it whenever he wants. We've watched so much that I'm beginning to think we should buy one of those cool-looking handicap-accessible vans. Fortunately, we don't need one. We could bowl this evening because Izzy has a strep throat. He was terribly disappointed. If you'd be so kind as to mention his name on the air, we would be thrilled. His name is Izzy Altman Sagan. We live in Cambridge. He loves Candlepin and doesn't need bumpers. Wow. Thank you very much, Julie Altman. Nice to hear from you, and get those kids bowling and keep bowling.
I think there may be a follow-up email, because I did write back to her and invited them up to see the show for today's taping. Although I don't believe they're here. If they are here, they haven't introduced themselves. But I would imagine it'll be a thrill for young Izzy to come up and watch the action in person.
Oh, he made it. Look at that. The ball kept it alive. Watch this shot. Watch the ball come back. There it is, coming across the lane.
It's his day. Chris Capozzi is enjoying a great day on the lanes. And he is going to break 400 for his 2nd time on TV.
Almost over, boys and girls.
You heard Mike Morgan turn to the crowd and say it's almost over.
Come on, kid. Come on. Come on.
Puts a 7 on the board.
Come on, Mike. Finish it here.
Trailing by 68 pins.
You just know He'd like to star in one of those commercials for Southwest Airlines. Want to get away?
Get away. Yeah, mention that to him afterwards.
Nice job, Mike.
There's a spare for Michael. Chris Capozzi looks for more bonus money. Thus far, he's earned $125 in bonus money. He'll have another $50 for having the high string in the match.
With the batter.
Chris right on the head pin. The 5-pin rocks and rocks. That was halfway over, wasn't it? It leaned and leaned. It might still go. It's still rocking and rolling. And
now it's down.
Make some more money.
All right, looking for some more bonus money. As you heard Mike Morgan shout out to his partner. He's already at 400, right on the nose.
looking for some bonus money now. That's a good first ball and another 9-pin drop.
Come on, go make some cash there, now.
What a great day it's been for Chris Capozzi of Everett, Massachusetts. 120 average. Beats one of the
right
greats
on it.
today.
$50 in bonus money.
He'll also get $50, Dick, for high string.
Yep. So he's got $175 in bonus money, $50 for having the high string. That's $225. Good payday for Chris,
I would say. And next week he'll take on Mike Yao, first timer. So a couple of rather inexperienced bowlers go at it next week.
I'm trying. All of them.
right on the head pin, and a 7-pin fill, and a 152 third string, and a 426 triple for Chris Capozzi.
And Mike Morgan led the cheering and stood up and applauded for him, and which got everybody else going, congratulating his opponent.
Six in the mark. Mike said that time he hit the head pin and it still didn't go down. And he got the spare. Had it all the way. Mike's looking for some.
Come on.
No, he's not either. I had him looking for. Yeah, he's looking for
You're
some bonus
correct.
money.
Yeah, we have a scoring error here. First one of the week. It only took me 3 strings to make the first scoring error.
On the head pin. Put 8 in the mark.
Yes.
Got the bonus money. So Mike gets the bonus money.
Come on, go a hammer now. Go a hammer.
And another strike here would be worth another $25 for him. You can put it in the pocket. It's right there. He puts 8 in the mark and finishes with a 133 and a 3-string total of 365. Chris Capozzi beats Mike Morgan 426 to 365. We're coming back to talk to our bowlers right after this when we continue from Leader Lanes in Nashua with Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Chris Capozzi defeats Mike Morgan. The final score 426 to 365 from Mike Morgan, who joins us. We have $200 as for being the runner-up, another $50 in bonus money, and you wanted to leave after the second string, didn't you?
Well, you know, I never give up. I haven't been bowling in any league, so, I mean, I didn't want to be 40 pins down, obviously, but I'll never give up. But, you know, I mean, I still ended up 365, but I don't think it would have mattered. Chris really had his ball going. Early in the match, I had a chance to put a little heat on him, and I didn't. And in my mind, I said, you know, there was my chance. When he finished the first string with like about 40 pins, I'm just not at that confident level where I've been bowling. So, and then he just free-wheeled and he kicked the snap out of me.
Now, you've been bowling for a long time, and we've talked to a lot of guys about making adjustments during the course of the game. You were having trouble, obviously, finding the head pin. What kind of adjustments do you try to make during the course of a game?
Well, normally when I'm bowling, I mean, I can figure it out. I haven't been, so I was missing the head pin to the left. So then I started short arming it, missing to the right, and Bart told me I wasn't following through because after missing to the left, I started babying it to the right, and once you start thinking in this game, take your shoes off, you know. So give Chris the credit. He really bowled good. I just, you know, I haven't been bowling since December 7th, so just to get to the show, I'm very excited just to be here.
Well, now that you're here and you're back kind of in the flow of things, the big Easter Sunday tournament is coming up. You don't miss that one, do you?
Yes, I will this year. I'm just not bowling. I mean, after I bowl, it doesn't hurt me to bowl, but to get out of a car, my knee bothers me, and I'm not bowling enough to bowl 20 strings. So I'd say this year I'll pass. I might come up and watch because that's some quality bowling.
Oh, no kidding.
We'll look forward to seeing you back on the show. Mike Morgan, our runner-up here this afternoon, and we hope to see him back in the future. Now, Chris Capozzi will go up on lane 33. Mike Morgan will draw a card out. We'll tell you on the other side, Chris. We're going to tell you how many you need to get. Do we have a number on there? There we go. This is Arthur LeBlanc from Gardner, Massachusetts. For $40, want you to knock down 8 pins. Chris, see if you can knock down 8. For Arthur LeBlanc from Gardner. Chris doing everything well. There goes 6, 7, 8, 9. A consolation prize from N&R Trophies in Winchendon, Massachusetts.
You'll be getting some
Arthur LeBlanc
because
from Gardner, Massachusetts. You didn't seem to be bothered having not been on television in a long time. You seem to fall right into the flow. You were locked in on that headpin right from the beginning.
Well, the first couple of boxes I was a little tight, and I was missing the headpin. I must have missed it like around the first 4 out of the 5 boxes. But then I get a couple of marks, and I was just getting in the rhythm, and I was just throwing a nice ball after that.
I mean, you were locked in right from the very beginning. You didn't look like a guy who's only been on TV 1 or 2 times.
I know. Well, I just throw the same ball. I've been bowling good for the last couple of months, and I just throwing the same ball, not doing anything different.
Again, the same question I asked Mike about making adjustments during the course of a match. Once you get into that groove, you feel pretty comfortable. You try not to make a change.
Exactly. I don't make any adjustments anyway because I'll throw my whole game off if I do that, and so I can't throw a fast ball or a slow ball. I just gotta be consistent with the same ball that I throw. So.
Well, with only 2 appearances on television, you get to be the big guy next week, bowling against somebody who's making his debut, Mike Yao. What do you know about Mr. Yao?
I see him down the roll-offs here once in a while, but that's about it. And I know what he's going through.
$175 in bonus money, another $50 for having the high string in the match, so that's a 2 1/4, and we'll see you next week.
Okay,
Chris Capozzi, thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Chris Capozzi, our winner, 426 to 365 over Mike Morgan. And Mike Morin will tell you about next week's show.
And another Mike Yao, who's not done television before, but he'll get his feet wet against Chris Capozzi next week.
We'll look forward to seeing you as well. For everybody here at Leda Lanes, for Mike Morin and our entire crew, I'm Dick Lutz. Thanks for watching, everybody.